Hi, I'm Brad with Fence & Cranes. In today's video, we're talking about webbing slings. How to inspect them properly, when to remove them from service, and how to comply with CSA standards and occupational health and safety requirements. Slings are one of the simplest tools in your lifting operation, but when they fail, the result can be catastrophic. That's why inspection criteria are so important. A webbing sling doesn't usually fail without warning. It gives you signs, frayed edges, burns, cuts, right? Missing tags. The problem is if you don't check, you miss those signs. According to CSA B167 and provincial OH&S regulations, every sling must be inspected before first use to ensure it meets the manufacturer's specifications. Visually checked before each shift or use to catch obvious damage, and then periodically inspected by a competent person at intervals based on how often it's used, how severe the conditions are, and the manufacturer's instructions. And most importantly, if a sling fails inspection, it must be removed from service immediately. When a new sling arrives, don't just put it straight into service. Check that it matches the order and is the right length, width, and capacity. Has a legible tag with manufacturer material and your working load limit. Is free of cuts, burns, chemical stains, and stitching defects from manufacturing. The first inspection should be recorded in your company's lifting equipment register. So before you hook a load, give the sling a quick look through, end to end, check, and here's some things you should be looking for, right? Surface abrasion. So like fraying, fuzzing, or worn patches along the webbing sling, especially along the edges, right? Cuts or tears. I mean, this sling that I'm using here is pretty hatted, right? It's cuts, it's torn, it's fraying. So any sliced fibers from contact with sharp edges or corners, heat or chemical damage, areas that are discolored, melted, hardened, or brittle. This entire sling is actually hard, brittle, and breaking in places, right? Stitching damage. So load-bearing stitching should be intact, not pulled out or frayed. Your stitching will run down the side of it. And knots or twisting. Never tie a sling in a knot. It reduces the capacity and weakens the fibers, right? This sling will be a bit difficult to tie knots in it, but the longer slings, that's not so difficult to tie a knot, right? Just to shorten it, some guys will do that. So your tag, make sure it's the label's legible. If the identification tag is missing or illegible, the sling must be removed from service immediately, right? These daily checks are usually done by the operator and they're fast, but they can save lives. So periodic inspections, inspecting your slings annually by a competent person or at regular intervals. Many companies do this monthly, quarterly, or annually, depending on use. In a periodic inspection, you're looking deeper than the daily checks, right? You're looking at edge wear, significant thinning or rounding of the edges, UV degradation, so faded colors. If you look at the difference between these two slings, one is it's a bit dirty, but it's still yellow. This one's almost gone white, right? So this one is faded. This one, it's still holding its color, right? It's usually caused from sunlight exposure. Hardware condition, look at any fittings, rings, hooks, shackles for corrosion, distorted or cracks, right? Loss of elasticity. If the sling looks stretched out, it may have been overloaded and it's not safe for use, right? A periodic inspection should be documented in writing and kept on file for OH&S compliance. So here are the clear clues. A webbing sling must be removed from service immediately if you see any of the following: cuts, burns, excessive abrasion on the webbing sling. This sling is no longer in service, right? It's cut, it's cracked, the stitching's coming undone. The tag is still legible, so we know what it is for easy replacement, but the sling itself is no longer fit for use, right? Exposure damage, melted fibers, chemical burns, or brittle UV damaged material. In welding shops, you'll often find weld splats on the slings. And nobody will even bother with it, or many times people won't bother with it, right? They'll just think, it's a little bit of splatter, it's a big sling. But that little bit of splatter will start to tear your sling, right? If there's welding splatter on it, throw the sling out and get another one. We want to go home at the end of every day, not take a chance and risk losing a friend or ourselves, right? Width loss of 10% or more compared to the original sling width, right? So just measuring the width of the sling, it'll give you an indication if the sling is stretched or not. So don't attempt to repair webbing slings in the field. If it fails its inspection, tag it and remove it from the area. Then replace it with a new one. One last reminder, sling safety isn't just about condition, it's about how you use it. Always check sling angles, right? As the angle between legs increases, the load on each leg increases dramatically. For example, lifting a 2-ton load with a 2-legged sling at 80-degree spread can put more than 5 tons of force on each leg. So use edge protection on sharp loads to prevent cuts. Never exceed the working load stamped on the tag. Let me show you on this sling here on the tag, right? So right here it'll say basket. This sling, for example, is 12,400 pounds used in basket. If you choke it, 4,960 pounds. And vertical, the sling's rated capacity is 6,200 pounds. The tag tells me it's a polyester sling. It's 12 feet long. It gives me its type, the ASME standard B30.9 that it's designed to, right? The manufacturer of this sling is Northern Strands. All the information I need is right on here. My serial number for my paperwork, 3148870. Right, all that information should be recorded on your inspection. CSA makes it clear exceeding capacity or using slings incorrectly is just as unsafe as using a damaged sling, right? So use the sling the way it was designed. If you don't have the right equipment, hire it or buy it. You shouldn't be doing the job with the wrong equipment to start off with. So to extend the life of your slings, handle and store them properly. Store in a clean, dry place away from sunlight and chemicals. Don't drag slings across rough floors. Keep them off sharp edges without protection. Never leave slings under load or exposed to welding sparks or flames. Good storage and handling practices can double the life of your slings. So here's the takeaway. Inspect before each use. Schedule competent periodic inspections and reject slings at first sign of damage or missing tags. And when in doubt, don't use it, right? So us here at Venter Cranes, we provide sling inspections, operator training and OEM spec service, right? All our training and information videos are available on our YouTube channel, Venter Cranes. Follow for more crane safety and maintenance insights. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.